If you want to create some groups in Office 365, you can do it right from the portal. In order to do that, let's go and click on the Group section. And in the Group section, I'm just going to click on Groups there. We'll deal with shared mailboxes in another video. You'll notice we already have a bunch of groups, but I'm going to go ahead and add a new one. To do that, I'm going to click on the Add a Group button up here. It's going to open up, and notice I now have the ability right from the main portal to create any of the 4 different types of groups that they offer us here. Office 365 distribution list, mail-enabled security, or a security group. Let's just create a security group for now. We'll just call this one Demo Security right now as the name for the group. I could put in a description if I wanted to and go out there and just click Add the Group. All I've done is created a security group. Now, as we know from other videos, the security group allows us to grant access to resources, right? I can go out there and give this group access to, say, a SharePoint site or to a OneDrive library, for example. Now that I've got the group ready, the next step is for me to go out there and actually put some users in the group, right? I have to actually add the users. So I'm going to go in here and click on the Demo Security button. I'm going to edit the members, and you'll see right now there aren't any members in there, right? But I have the ability to click up here and choose the Add Members button. In the Add Members button, it gives me a list. I could sort it if I have 5,000 or 6,000 people working in our 365 environment. That search box is going to come in handy to find that account so I don't have to scroll through all of them. In this case, we only have a few users, so I'm just going to say click on, say, for example, Ellen and Carlos here, and we'll make them members of the group. Now, anywhere that I grant access to this security group, Ellen and Carlos will now have the ability to go out there and actually grant or use that environment. All right, so I can create a security group. I can go out here and also use the same portal to create that mail-enabled security group and have the ability to go out there and do that as well, and the distribution list. The one type of group you don't see here is a dynamic distribution list. If you want to create a dynamic distribution list, you have to do that in the Exchange Admin Center. So let's go take a quick peek at that. I'm going to go over here and in my Admin Center down at the bottom, I'm going to open that up, scroll, and click on the Exchange Admin. That's going to open up a new window for me. That'll bring me into the Exchange Admin Center. Under my recipients here, I have the ability to simply click on Groups. And again, we'll see a lot of our groups already in here, right? And if I click on the plus button, what you're going to notice is I have the ability to create those same groups that we had before. But there's one missing. I see distribution groups, security groups, right? I don't just see a security group because, in fact, this security group is a mail-enabled security group. So if I wanted to create a security group that's not going to have email, I only do that in the portal. If I want to create the dynamic distribution list, I have to do that in the Exchange Admin Center. So I'm going to click on Dynamic Distribution Group here. That's going to bring it up, and we'll just open this up. We'll call it Dynamic Demo Group here, right? And that's the display name, and we'll say it's Dynamic is fine for the alias that we're going to use. I can give it some notes. I'll assign somebody the owner of this group. In this case, we'll go ahead and allow ourselves, Ethan, to be the owner of that group. Let that picker come up here just a second. Sometimes it does take a little longer for these things to actually populate, but we'll go ahead and we'll click on Ethan there and add Ethan in as the owner. Now, and then I have the ability to add in what's called a rule. A dynamic distribution group is based on a rule, right? Whatever rule I establish here, if somebody sends to that group, it will check all of the users, and any users that match that condition will then receive that email. In this case, I'm going to go in there and add a rule, right? And we can say, all right, well, I want to say their department, and we'll assume that we want this to be for people who are part of accounts, right? So I'll put in accounts there and add that group in. And now, if their department has the word accounts in it, they will actually, we'll go ahead and get rid of that extra one, but we have the ability to go in there and they'll receive this email, right? And we'll click Save. And just like that, we've now created a dynamic distribution group. Now, one of the things I do want to show you in here is this. While we can create the email-enabled security groups and the distribution list from the portal, when you come into the Exchange Admin Center, you have that same ability, right? Security group is an email-enabled security group, and you have the ability to create a distribution list. But what I want to show you is this. Right now in the portal, when you go to click on distribution group to create it, it's actually creating an Office 365 group. Okay, so make sure you understand that, because by default in the Exchange Admin Center, when you create distribution list, it's actually creating an Office 365 group. In fact, if you zoom in here, you'll see where it says to create a new distribution group, click here. So in order to do it from Exchange Admin, you actually have to click here to open up the distribution list. Otherwise, you're actually creating an Office 365 group. And that's just something you need to be aware of. That's a little bit different in the Exchange Admin Center from the main portal.